So witches and pagans and spiritual seekers, we love a good circle, don't we? Magic circles, protective circles, sacred circles, static or moving like the wheel of the year, with seasons and sabbats moving in the circle. Now, as a green witch, my garden demands of me adherence to the circle. Try planting seeds in winter and you'll soon find out its power. And time passing, not only in the garden, but as a mother, the circle seems to encase my mother's heart, not only with longing for days gone by, but excitement of what's to come for my children. But it makes you so aware of the circle. Little hands no longer holding mine. Apron strings are now untied. University and empty nests are looming. In fact, the ever-changing circle of parenting is marked permanently on my skin as a circle. The challenges of special needs parenting, often unbelievably intense, but in these moments my circle tattoo reminds me, hold on, the magic always rolls around. And that's true. The circle is always rolling around. The circle is all about change. And not all circles are created equally. Some circles are what I call mini deaths. And I heard a story this month about flamingos and it just amazed me. I heard that the flamingo is the only animal that shows how its energy is being drained out of it. When you see a less pink flamingo, they are always the mothers. Isn't that incredible that you can actually see the energy that parenthood takes out of a species of animal? So never look at pale flamingos the same way ever again. And I think we've hit on a key word there for the circle. It's about energy, it's about renewal, it's about rest, it's about being in full bloom or lying fallow to recharge. As a garden witch, I see this every single year. Nothing has taught me more about circles and life cycles as gardening, as planting plants, watching them bloom, seeing them fade away, collecting seeds and starting again the next year, or watching plants disappear to nothing only to bud the following year. And then there are bigger circles, plants that you know only are going to come once, but you can collect seeds from that. Their legacy continues. If you don't get any seeds, then they go in the compost bin and their energy then gets put into the soil. That is a bigger circle for a plant, but they're all forms of death. It's all forms of the circle turning. It's all forms of energy transferring state. Sometimes I look at my compost bin and view it as a portal. It feels like a divine space in the garden. It's where energy is becoming something else. It is the death of one thing and the start of another. And honestly, it's viewing death as energy that led me to leave the Christian church. I just could not reconcile my belief that there is one energy source that we are all connected to, a collective energy, that we come here and live on this earth for our own personal life circle and our life cycle, but then we return back to that energy source. That means that the divine is in me. It isn't a separate being, a separate God looking down. It changed my perspective. Heaven became more of the compost bin of divinity, if you will, where energy is endless. We are no longer the pale flamingo. We are limitless again. And then I suppose there are questions of, would we then return? Are we an annual plant, or are we perennial, destined for way more turns around the circle? So that's my understanding of what death and rebirth means for me. It's very much tied in with that idea of the circle. And I do see it in my garden the most. I think flowers have taught me that the most. Now, I buy my girls flowers every other week. I put fresh bouquets in their rooms to surprise them, and they absolutely love it. So we get to see the circle of cut flowers, which is the circle in super quick speed. But now we've started holding on to the flowers to watch what happens as they turn further into death, as the pink flamingo becomes white. And it's been such a profound and beautiful experience. It feels like we're finally looking at flowers with a full palette of wisdom and colours. We get to see the reds mute down, reds becoming yellows, the yellows becoming greens, the greens becoming browns. It's an incredible change. Embracing the beauty of this death phase of the flowers has opened me up to hear and feel more of their energy in my practice. So just simply by buying flowers and honouring their full cycle, by growing a garden and interacting with the garden's full cycle, by collecting seeds and replanting seeds, by composting, it's all such a beautiful circle, and it connects me in my practice profoundly, adding in so many more colours, so much more wisdom and portals to divinity. If we are closest to source energy at death, it seems like such an important area to find ways to connect, and flowers with their fast circles are such a beautiful way to do it. So I decided to try and capture this profound wisdom and closeness to divinity with a simple flower press. Now, flowers, when they're pressed, become so magical. They take on all those death colours and fading elements. They take on a way more sculptural shape. There are patterns that weren't there before that become incredibly obvious. For me, these surface features, these patterns that emerge and these strange colours that emerge, and also the imprint patterns on the paper that I pressed it on, they become like aspects of death magic for me. I think to use those patterns and to use those colours, it provides a profound link to divinity, to opening doors, to astral travel, to different planes. It has been a wonderful practice for me over the last few years, ever since I really got involved with magic gardening. And I've even seen within the pressed flowers warnings from another side about the pale flamingo syndrome. I think sometimes when I have pressed a flower that has still got its seeds unused, that's when rot can set in. There are still seeds there that should have flown away. You got worn out before you could release all your potential. Those are the flowers that rot, and those are my pink flamingo flowers. There is a warning from beyond the grave here to honour the circle, to rest when you need to recharge when you need to lie fallow if need be. We can't be in full bloom all the time, otherwise we become the pale flamingo. And then there's also the warning of not resisting change, not holding on too long. When I wait too long to press a flower, it falls apart, it doesn't hold its shape. There is a fine line of timing. Also, because I've only got the one flower press, I've also used, as you can see here, Amazon envelopes to press flowers between paper and the cardboard of the Amazon envelope, just placing it under a pile of books, and you will have flowers pressed. I will sometimes put intent and write a little spell or a message of intent, or sometimes just a love letter to the flower as an honouring to my garden before I press it. The words that you press your flowers with will mean that they can be used for different types of magic when they are finally dried. So what do I do with these flowers when they have finished? Sometimes I will crumble them up to create a powder, a death powder. Other times I will pick flowers that have got particularly beautiful patterns and create sigils from them. If there is a flower that has pressed and has turned to rot, I will use that more as a warning powder. I can paint the patterns into art witchery as well. And it is just a beautiful way of bringing death magic and that connection to divinity and other planes into your magic. And hey, who needs more excuses to go and buy flowers? Here is your excuse right here. So guys, flowers and death and circles and not becoming the pale flamingo. Let's embrace the change, turn with the circle and let go when we need to. Thanks guys so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.